evening marks a special occasion as we celebrate the 90th birthday of one of Tell City's outstanding citizens, Clarence Dixie Davis.
All right.
Dixie Davis, this is your life. Dixie was born on May 27, 1903, the son of Eugene and Emma Myrna Davis. He's a native of Tell City, raised his son, Sonny Davis Jr. He married Ellen Bettinger. In 1921, Dixie graduated from Tell City High School. 1926, graduated from Purdue University with a major in economics. Throughout his life, Dixie has had two careers, one in business and one in music. And you would be hard-pressed to tell you which is his first love. But it was at Purdue that the die was cast for both careers that would figure so greatly in the flowering of his life. It is impossible to list all the accomplishments of Dixie's record to his community. In the words of Imogene Snyder, this community can never repay Dixie for all that he's done. His exemplary record as a member of the Tell City School Board, he served 3 years as its treasurer and was board president for 9 years. He was president when the new gymnasium and additional classrooms were built. He served on the city's recreation board for 3 years. He's a member, or has been a member, of the Kiwanis Club, the Moose Lodge, the Knights of Pythias Lodge, Alpha Tau Omega Fraternity, the Tell City Area Chamber of Commerce, for which he served as secretary for 3 years, a member of the Evangelical United Church of Christ. Of the 49 members of the LEG Club, Dixie and Monroe Triad are the only surviving members. The club was organized in 1923 at the Sugar Bowl restaurant. Excuse me, that'd be corrected, Charlie Schreiber. LEG simply meant Let's Eat Gang, and it originated around Christmas of 1923. That's according to a member Tony Overhouse. In later years, the group was referred to as the Old Goats Club, as former member Andrew Shergans used to say. Other remaining members include Anthony Oberhausen, Louis Pud Oberhausen, Cecil Hudson, Lee Hagedorn, Lester Leisner, and Charles Schreiber, and I was correct in my first assumption that Dixie and Monroe Dreiling are the only surviving members of the original club.
Correct.
In 1943, Dixie was named Secretary-Manager of Tell City Federal Savings and Loan. In 1953, he was named member of the Savings and Loan Board of Directors. In 1963, he was elected Vice President and Manager of Tell City Federal. During the 25 years he served as manager of the association, it grew from assets of $500,000 to over $7 million. He served 2 terms as the Director of the Savings and Loan League of Indiana, and a term as a member of the National Thrift Committee of the U.S. Savings and Loan League. One of his former employees in those days was here, Pat Dyer. Would you like to say a few words, Pat? Yeah.
Well, when I worked at the Tell City Federal Savings and Loan for Dixie, my name was Pat Kuster, so a lot of you may remember me that way. I worked there for 13 years, and Dixie was always a great boss. I remember we worked in the old building, and we didn't have air conditioning, and a lot of the townspeople would just stop by to chat. I remember Menor driving, and the Petries across the street. Norman Albert came by a lot, and Everett Price, Mr. Carbon, and let's see who else. Gosh, I can't think who all they were, but Dixie had time for everybody. And one thing that I remember was one time there were only 3 of us there, and we did everything by hand. And it was Dixie and Clara Sturholster and I. And I was going to have to work by myself, and I was a little bit afraid. And I said to Dixie, what do I do if somebody comes in and I don't know how to handle it? And he said, well, one thing I want you to always remember is, if in doubt, don't. And I have always remembered that all my life, and it's helped out in a lot of situations. And I'm not going to try to tell any funny stories on Dixie, because I know he could probably tell a lot more on me. But he's just really a great guy. Happy birthday, Dixie.
Anthony Drive. Where's Anthony Drive? Anthony Oberhausen. Oh, he answers better than me.
Dixie, I first knew you when you'd come back from school. Charlie Schreiber and myself would be over there around the Sugar Bowl. You'd get us guys to do everything in the world. And then when they started the LEG Club, I think you were the guy that started it. And we went from the Sugar Bowl over to Van Homestead over on 7th Street in the 400 block there, and they had a building there, and they served in the meal. And when he got over there, they got it started, and it was ready to eat. Dixie went out and hollered, "Let's eat cake." And that's what the LEG Club is today. You see it showing the girl's picture or a leg of the girl with LEG on it, but all it says is, "Let's eat cake." And I was, I'm going to jump way over here now to when, after Ken Redd was coming here and Mr. Blue offered me a job, and they were in the manufacture of things that would be for the war that was going on. Dixie Davis took my place. And it's just about 50 years ago, right now, I think it was in May of 43, that Dixie and I went to Indianapolis for a meeting with the savings and loan people. And I was stepping out the next day, and Dixie was taking over. And he has, well, somebody out here gave him how long he's been working there. And he did a fine job. He did that like he has done everything else. I asked them how long they wanted me to talk. They said, oh, 2 minutes. I said, how can you say anything about Dixie Davis in 2 minutes? So I made it here longer than that. Because that day when we went up to Indianapolis, I went along with him and introduced him, and he made a big hit. He hadn't been there a half an hour, so they had him sitting down and he was playing with all their things that were going on there at the meeting. And then later on, I got on the board of directors of the Tennessee Federal Savings and Loan, and Dixie was our manager, and I got to work with him there many times. Then I'm going to jump way over here to when he came back here, and we had many things in common. I was working in the General Electric here, and we would have conditions where we would talk to Dixie about repairs and so on and so forth. My 2 minutes are good enough to say that I'm going to just a couple of things that I want to say about it. You know, Dixie and I have one thing that draws us together, hasn't been said, and you wouldn't dream what it ever was. But his middle name is Henry, and my middle name is Henry. Now that's enough to draw any two people together at one time. I was named after Henry Davis. Now that means something to some of you people. Now I don't know who Dixie's Henry came from. Who was it? An uncle. An uncle. Well, this was an uncle to me, your great uncle to me. I'm going to wish you well. And I'm going to tell you one other thing. Somebody might get mad at me. They couldn't get mad very long. I have a list of the top 10 citizens of Tell City in my mind. People I think go the extra mile, the extra 2 miles or 10 miles. Dixie Davis has always been on that list. And we're losing a few of those people too lately. I'm not going to tell you who they were. We're losing some, so somebody else is going to have to get on that list. Thank you.
Dixie served as Perry County Chairman of the Salvation Army for more than 20 years. He was honored by that organization for meritorious service. In 1966, he was selected by the Tell City JCs as Boss of the Year. In 1967, as Republican candidate for mayor of Tell City, Dixie was recognized at a $100 a plate Republican mayoral dinner in Indianapolis, attended by 4,000 persons. Though his bid for mayor was not successful, I deem it an honor, he said at the time, to be selected by my party to be a candidate for mayor of my hometown. I want to give city government back to the people where it belongs. In 1974, Dixie was named Tell City's Outstanding Citizen. In 1977, under the heading of Campus Bands, Dixie's leadership experiences with Purdue dance bands were chronicled in the book, The Jazz State of Indiana. Being very civic-minded, Dixie has worked on local projects too numerous to mention. A 1967 article in the Tell City News said he has never refused to serve when called on to work for the betterment of Tell City. Dixie was nicknamed by the late Al Birchler, who operated the Sugar Bowl restaurant at the corner of Main and Humboldt Streets. Dixieland music was popular when I started out, Dixie said in a 1973 story. There was a piano in the Sugar Bowl, and when I went there to play, Al would say, "Give us a little bit of that Dixie." And that's where the name originated. Lee Hagedorn, one of Dixie's neighbors, has a story to share with us. Lee?
I'm too young to have many stories about Dixie. I'm just 80. But Dixie was a neighbor of my father's brothers, and the whole community loved him and loved his wife. I don't know what they thought about Sonny, but but they had a big project one summer. I think his wife wanted to have a screened-in patio, a screen on the top, and all that sort of thing. And when they got it built, they asked the neighbors to come review it, and they were all pleased, happy that he had it. But Dixie says, this tree here is too close. We'll have to cut this thing down. Well, one of his neighbors tied into a few once in a while, and he also had a power saw. So he decided, well, my good friend wants that tree cut down, and I got this power saw, so he proceeds to go down and cut the tree down. And what happens? It falls on the patio. I don't know how good a neighbor he was after that, but he was trying. So he got but the thing that always comes to my mind, anytime Dixie was anywhere and asked to furnish a little music, he was there. And everybody, so many people has enjoyed it. Of course, when we sang the song for LEG, us old boogers now are voices are getting kind of rusty, but he still points to me, wants me to lead. And I'm kind of old, I can't even remember the words hardly anymore. But anyway, he's a great man, and I'm proud I knew him all these years. Proud to associate him with LEG. We should have seen some of those parties. Man, they were worthwhile attending. But happy birthday, Dixie. Appreciate it.
A professional musician, Dixie's musical career spans more than 70 years. He has been a member of the American Federation of Musicians, AFL-CIO, for nearly all his life. He was the first director of the local chapter of Barber Shoppers, which at one time was the largest chapter in the nation. You remember those days, don't you? Hugh Thrasher. You.
Can't get there from here. My associations with Dixie first, as I remember, was the Barber Shoppers. And I joined the Barber Shoppers soon after I came to Tell City. It was back, that's none of your business. I enjoyed very much the barbershop work, and Dixie, of course, was the director. What sticks in my mind, as I remember, there used to be a place called the Beechwood Gardens. A lot of you won't even remember that, but I'm sure a lot of you will. A dance hall, maybe a bowling alley, I don't know what. My wife and I had some friends, and we decided we were going to the dance. So we went to the dance, sitting there at the table, and I looked up, and Dixie's band was playing. Dixie was president of the school board. I had just been hired on the staff at Tell City High School. I thought, oh my God, I've had it now for sure. Times have changed, you know. And I thought, here we are at the dance hall, and here comes the president of the school board. He came over there, and we were both shaking, nervous. Dixie said, I want you to know that you're at the right place, and you have a good time, and this is where you should be. So Dixie, happy birthday.
Dixie may have become Tell City's best-known musician because of boredom. When he was 16 years old and a sophomore at Tell City High School, he started fooling around on the piano and became ill one Christmas vacation. That fooling around began a musical career that has lasted a lifetime. He says he never had a music lesson in his life, but after he got started on the piano, he practiced every spare minute he had. Dixie's career as a musical pro stretches back to the beginning of the big band era. West Lafayette, home of the Boilermakers, jumped no less than the rest of the country in the jazz era. In the early days, there was Henry Steed's varsity players, and Dixie was their pianist, along with 2 saxophones, a violin, banjo, and drums. Upon Steed's graduation in 1924, Dixie came home to Tell City, not knowing how he'd pay for his next year at school. After a summer job at Larry Pruitt's band in Louisville, he got a summons from his fraternity brothers at the ATO house to form a band that fall. Back on campus, he surveyed the competition, then recruited his band. The letterhead of Dixie Davis and his boys read, syncopation, rhythm, and originality, and it lived up to its name. His band played every Saturday night for dances in the Union Building. Usually more than 500 couples attended these dances. On Friday nights, the band played for fraternity and sorority dances, and it was at that time that he composed the Alpha Tau Omega love song for his fraternity. They played at many hotel ballrooms and the Hotel Severn Roof Garden in Indianapolis. One job I always regretted we didn't take, he said, in the jazz state of Indiana, was as a ship's band on a Hong Kong cruise. Some of the fellows couldn't go, so none of us went. While attending Purdue, Dixie became acquainted with Hoagie Carmichael, who was a student at IU. The two often got together for jam sessions with other musicians. Later, Dixie joined the Charlie Davis Band at the Indiana Theater. Dick Powell, destined to become a movie star, was a member of the band. Dixie went on the road for a while, playing one-night stands, and in his words, playing a lot of grand openings for J.C. Penney stores, most of which had rooftop gardens. The band broke up during the Depression, and Dixie headed home to Tell City, playing at the Iroquois Gardens in Louisville with Larry Pruitt and Isham Jones at the French Lick Sheraton. While at the Gardens, he was offered a job as a traveling accompanist for a young singer whose promoters thought would make it big. As it turned out, that singer did make it big. Her name was Kate Smith. Dixie had numerous offers to accompany named bands, but he turned them down. I guess I was always too conservative, he said. I never wanted to turn loose of a branch until I had my hand on another. I classed myself as a guy who almost made it in music. I saw a lot of big names fall by the wayside. I played it safe, and I don't think I missed anything, even with the chances I've had. Music was fine, but I wanted to know where our next dollar was coming from. Dixie, you didn't almost make it in the eyes of your friends. You made it big. In addition to the Purdue band, Dixie and his boys, there was a group that played at the Sunlight Hotel grand opening in 1928. In addition to Dixie, the members of that 1928 grand opening were Irvin Kissy Kessler, Eugene Davis, Bob Martin, Lee Hubert, Ralph Zerger, Russell Kessler, and Wilbur Parker Sr. At the old Rendezvous nightclub on Highway 37, 1948, managed by Millard Sweat. In addition to Dixie, members of the band were Sonny Davis, Norman Van Winkle, Thomas Trissler, Robert Schreiber, Patrick Smith, Lloyd Starkey, Al Wilbur, Frank Clemens, Marcus Anderson, and Gary Starkey. Assorted band members from 1935 to 1951 include Jess Parker, Jimmy Hunselman, Carice Cunningham, Bobby McLean, Walter Paul Camp, Jimmy Caslin, Larry Creed Jr., Carl Saunders, Belda Nepper, Ralph Crank, Ray Schauberger, Russell Clements, Shanty Rutherford, Wilbur Shadwick, and Ishmael Scott. Other band members and occasional musicians include Dixie Brawley, Art Stillwell, Don Bohlenkemper, Floyd Freeman, Jim Huffman, and I'm sure many more that I've forgotten to mention. Ruth Baumgarten has a little story to share about Dixie's band that was on the road.
First of all, I want to say how happy I am to be here and sharing this with a fellow musician and a good friend. I am second generation to have played in Dixie's dance band. My dad did before I did, and I'd like to ask Dixie a question. Dixie, do you know where you were on July 4th, 1924? I don't think you will. You were playing at the old Royal Theater across the street from the City Hall, in case y'all are too young to remember. And my dad was in the band that night. And 4 days later, my twin sisters were born. So Daddy was sweating that out there that night. So he often told me about that. So I had to mention that to you, because I didn't think you would remember. Well, I played with Dixie on occasion. Sometimes he'd have a board meeting at the Regional Federal, and couldn't make it. Maybe if they were, the band was playing over at Rockport or someplace over at the Green Lantern, remember? And so I would go along with the guys, and I'd play until Dixie could get there. And then I could dance or do whatever I like to do, which I like to dance. So, but this one particular dance is the one that I want to talk about. We were playing at Owensboro at the Sports Center, and it was a policeman's ball. So they met us, the police escort met us at the bridge, and he escorted us through town with the sirens going and the police cars and everything, and it was quite a large crowd. And we had twin pianos, two pianos tuned exactly alike, and Dix and I played twin pianos that night. But this is the funny part of the story. After that, for several years, when Dix and I would appear on the same program, I knew I had it coming, because Dix would tell that I had done something, and he'd change it every time. I'd either robbed a bank or I had done something, and the police were waiting for me at the bridge. So, see, Dix, I'm getting it back at you, because you don't have a chance tonight. And it didn't matter whether it was at church, at the fellowship hall, it didn't matter where it was. I think when I'd see his name on the program, I thought, oh boy, we're in for it again tonight. So, before I sit down, I want to acknowledge for the members of the Organ Club. We are no longer active, but we do meet about quarterly for a luncheon. And Dixie was our faithful member for 20 plus years. If we needed someone to fill in on a program, somebody got sick or something happened that they couldn't come, Dixie was always there for us, and he was a very faithful member. And last year we had a party for him over at the guest house at St. Mindred. So Dixie, that one's still coming up. We didn't want to have all of them the same week, so you still have one to come. So happy birthday, Dix.
Among the well-wishers who received a telegram from Tell City High School band leader, a lifelong friend, Bill Shergans from Shreveport, Louisiana. Congratulations on your birthday celebration, Dixie. You deserve it. You have always been my idol. Of all of Dixie's music accomplishments, probably none is as well appreciated as the writing of a particular song in 1920. A song that has been played at nearly every major Tell City sporting event for the last 70 years. In the 1920s, Tell City High School classes opened every morning with singing and marching. And that's where Dixie got the idea. He said, I played every march I knew, time after time, until finally I thought, well, I'll make up one. It turned out so good, I thought I'd put some words to it. And the rest, of course, is history. The march turned out to be the only school song at Tell City High School that's ever used. The title is, Tell City, We're Mighty Proud of You. And Dixie Davis, we're mighty proud of you. Some musicians who played with you, Dixie, asked me if it was all right if they set in for a couple of songs, and I said, I guess it was, as long as we didn't play louder than you do. Is that all right with you? When you The rest is on my grocery list. Mike Anderson, Floyd Freeman, Brad Smith.
Do you all believe all those things you heard? It's hard for me to. I didn't know that I had done so much. And you know, I'm surprised how you get old so fast. Right, seriously. As Chuck told you, I have had many chances back in my heyday to go out on big time. In fact, I was out for a while, and a lot of people wondered why I didn't stay. First of all, the life that it gave was not to my liking. I enjoyed the music, but I didn't enjoy all the rest of it that went with it. And for that reason, I was always glad to get back to Tell City. Because in conclusion, I just want to say that I want to thank everybody that had anything to do with this wonderful party for me. And it's been marvelous. I've enjoyed every minute of it. And I want you to know that I've always loved Tell City, and I've always loved Tell City's people. God bless you.
music go on, we're going to have to go ahead with our program tonight. We'd like to feature Palmer, River Band singers, Broadway sing-alongs, feature on a trio. They're different more adopted Riverside Trio. Thanks for coming to celebrate the birthday of one of our characters. Please stick around. There's more to come.
In coordinating this tribute for Dixie. He's a great man, and he's the only person I know of that has written a school song for their own school. You know, and when I talked to the Indiana Arts Commission about that, they was like, oh wow. You know, so, I mean, I think it's a rare thing. I think it's especially neat that the kids can see the person that wrote this song that they're proud of. And it's an original. And no other school in the world has that song. And it's a great song. Chuck Staley did a heck of a lot of work putting all that together. So we'd like to thank him for that. Okay, then we've got our usual. Debbie Sandy's back there at the refreshment bar. Steve Gottlieb's over here doing the sound. And Robert Bryant is filming the show tonight. Okay. And then, coming up next, we have Kathy Palmer, okay, and Helen Kennedy from Young Age Lincoln helped set this up for us. And Kathy is here through a grant from the Indiana Arts Commission and the National Endowment for the Arts. She has a grant, a performatory grant, I believe, where she can go around to different places and perform for them. And she's also going to be in Campbell's grade school, Irish grade school, next Friday, May 28th, and back on June the 1st for Tell City Library Story Hour. Okay? So Kathy is ready. She's been here, she's been waiting, and we're ready to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? I know you've been sitting for a while, and I know this is just a little bit different than what you are used to. We are very fortunate this evening to have Mrs. Kathy Palmer here. Kathy's going to present for us a piece that is an historical perspective that its intent is to increase your awareness of the Lincoln drama that's presented in Spencer County each summer. Kathy has just recently, I will say most recently, hails from Evansville, Indiana with her family, who's with her tonight. This week, she has been in Georgia, presenting this in her hometown, and we are very, very pleased to welcome her. I've been very fortunate to hear her a couple of times with who have never heard this piece. So please give a very warm welcome to Mrs. Kathy Culver.
Good evening. First of all, I want to extend my birthday wishes also to Mr. Davis. I tell you, I was really intimidated out there listening to you play that music and saying, I got to come here and tell this folks a story after that and keep them awake. But I'm very happy to be here this evening, and I think that's an added bonus to be able to be here and to say happy birthday to somebody and to actually witness all of that talent at the same time. Thank you, Helen, and thank you, Beth, for allowing me the opportunity to come here this evening. I have been commissioned by the Lincoln Drama Association to put together a storytelling piece, and I don't know exactly what it's called, but I think Jack did a rather nice job of calling it a historical perspective, and I'm going to kind of borrow that from him from here on out because it sounds pretty good to me. But its intent, indeed, and the reason that I was invited to do this was for the purpose of increasing the awareness of the outdoor drama production, Young Abe Lincoln production.